Go.
There are many issues in the world today that add a level of uncertainty to our future. The economy, the environment, war, and weapons of mass destruction, just to name a few. The issue I'd like to talk about today, though, is the energy crisis. In recent years, we have begun to see the negative effects fossil fuels have on our environment, and their limited supply have become a very real concern. Our search for renewable and clean energy sources has taken us in several very different directions. Wind, hydroelectric, and solar are all being used with increased frequency these days. There's another source that has the ability to provide us with energy for many years to come. I'm talking about nuclear power, which when done correctly can produce massive amounts of clean and safe energy. There is generally a stigma associated with nuclear power, and people love to speak out against it. But how much do you really know about it? Let's compare nuclear power to coal, which currently provides about 45% of our electricity here in the U.S. According to the U.S. Energy Information Administration, or EIA, coal is abundant here in the U.S., making it easy to access. The problem is that it's carbon-based and produces carbon dioxide. The EIA breaks it down like this. As the coal burns, the carbon is released and combines with oxygen in the air. Using the ratio of the atomic weights of carbon and oxygen, we can see that just 1 pound of carbon makes nearly 3.7 pounds of carbon dioxide. In a world where global warming is a major concern, you can see how this is a problem. Now compare this to nuclear power. Since we don't burn anything in a nuclear reactor, there are no CO2 emissions or any other air pollutants. There are, however, some emissions associated with the process of obtaining uranium. According to British Energy, a nuclear power plant generates about 5 grams of CO2 per kilowatt hour throughout its entire existence, compared to 900 grams of CO2 per kilowatt hour in a typical coal plant. So we know that nuclear power is cleaner than coal, but how safe is it? Let's look at the deaths associated with coal power compared to that of nuclear power. According to nextbigfuture.com, coal has a worldwide average of 161 deaths per terawatt hour. Nuclear power has just 0.04. I know what you're thinking though, and I admit that nuclear power isn't perfect. So let's look at some nuclear incidents that have occurred in the past. First that usually comes to mind is the incident at the Chernobyl 4 reactor in 1986 in what is modern-day Ukraine. It is undeniable that the results of this accident were horrible. 30 deaths, and surely it was the cause of the increase in thyroid cancer in the area. But the thing we need to take away from this is that accidents can be avoided. Nearly everyone in the nuclear community, including the World Nuclear Association, agrees that the incident at Chernobyl was a result of a flawed reactor design combined with operator error. On that note, you should know that these bizarrely designed reactors were unique to the Eastern Bloc and are obsolete today. It also brings up the issue of reactor operator training. Nuclear power is safe, but only when operators are properly trained and know how to handle all possible situations. But despite the fact that there have only been 3 civilian incidents in nuclear power's history, its future is uncertain. Surprisingly, this isn't necessarily because of public opinion. The sheer cost of building a reactor, especially with little or no federal subsidies, has made energy companies continue to build coal and gas-fired plants, despite the fact that nuclear operational costs are only 68% of coal and only 25% of gas. With no government incentives, the investment is just too steep. The good news is that the Nuclear Regulatory Commission has been hard at work verifying that our plants are operating safely and renewing the operating licenses of those that are. So what I want you to remember after today is that nuclear power isn't all bad. On the contrary, it's actually quite clean and can be just as safe. So in the future, just don't be too quick to write off nuclear power as a terrible thing.
I don't know how to stop it. Okay, I think it's done.